Got it. Okay, so thanks for joining session today. And what we are going to see today about the use cases that we are going to discuss. We are until yesterday we have seen multiple things. Actually, we have seen the how the Docker evolution, and we have seen installation of Docker and creation of the EC2 machines in AWS environment. And we have seen different terminologies that deals with Docker, and we have seen the Docker architecture, and we have seen all the syllabus. We have seen that. And one more good news for you today is I am going to add another project to our course. Okay, that's a project for the log collection in Kubernetes. Okay, I have designed this project for like how the real time the people will be using log collection. The project number 5. Entirely this course contains 6 projects now. Additionally, I have added this project. Okay, how the logs of the applications will be collected from the Kubernetes cluster and send that logs to Elasticsearch. From there, the Kibana will be fetching the logs and viewing the logs. Actually, this is out of the syllabus because these are third-party integrations. This is very important because it's how the there are 2 things for the log collections. One is ELK stack and the other one is EFK stack. Okay, we are discussing about the EFK stack, Elasticsearch, FluentBit, and Kibana. Okay, now I am going to show you the setup, how you will be setting the EFK stack and viewing the logs in the Kibana dashboard. So that's how the project, the number 5 is designed. Recently, I have designed this. I want to include this project in your sessions because it's really important. Okay, so that's the thing. I'm going to include this project as well. That's a good news. And the other things that we are going to discuss today is about the Docker. Let me clear the screen and let me see my Docker daemon is running. Yes, my Docker desktop is running. Now let me go here. Now I hope you people can be able to view my screen, right? Now today we are going to see some of the use cases of Docker. Okay, now let me run this. Okay, Docker run hyphen name is equal to web app. Okay, -d -p EIT colon EIT. Okay, now I want to use Nginx image. Okay, Nginx image. Nginx is a Docker image that I am going to run as a container. Okay, that's what I mean. I am going to use the Nginx image. So what you need to understand, what is -p EIT colon EIT actually. I will be showing in as part of the diagram. As of now, just I am executing the command, right? Just it will be executed as a container. Docker container ls. You can see Nginx application is executed as a container. Nginx image or the application is executed as a container. Now let me access this Nginx application from my web browser. Let me go here. Let me go to the new tab, localhost colon EIT. What happening, how I am able to access the Nginx application which is running inside my Docker container, and how I am able to access this application from my browser. Let me show you in a diagram. This should be clear, port forwarding. So let me show you as part of the diagram, that one. Let me select all these things. Okay, now what I have did, this is my Docker host which I have, which is my machine. Okay, now let me label it named Docker host. Let me label it as Docker host. Okay, this is a Docker host. I hope you people know what is Docker host. Yesterday we have discussed about that, right? So that's a Docker host on which I have created. What is a command I have used to run a Nginx container? Okay, that's a command. Let me write here, Docker. Okay, Docker run hyphen name is equal to web app -p. I have used EIT colon EIT, and I have used before -p. I have also used -d, and let me put it as like this, -p and -d and Nginx. Okay, now this is the command I have used in order to run Nginx image as a container, right? What is this meaning of -p EIT colon EIT? Now, when you execute this Nginx image as a container, now a container of the Nginx image will be created on the Docker host with the name web app. The container name is web app. Look, let me write that name here, web app. Actually, this is a web app container. Okay, now this is the web app container. See, Nginx application inside this container will be running on port number EIT, like that. Each and every application will be running on particular port. Actually, suppose if you take a MySQL application, MySQL database or application, that will be running on 3306. Okay, now Tomcat application, that will be running on port number EIT. Okay, like that. Okay, Postgres application or the database will be running on 5432, MongoDB 27017. Okay, each and every application will be running on some particular port number, like that. Nginx application inside the container will be running on port number EIT. Actually, now let me take the container port. This upon the container, it will running on port number EIT. This is a port of the container. On which port it will be running on? Once again, it will be running on port number EIT. Let me take this as port number EIT. Okay, I will be taking this port number EIT. This is a port number EIT. Actually, now on this port number EIT, my Nginx application will be running like this. Okay, will be running like this. Actually, so like this it will be running. Okay, now what is the meaning of -p EIT colon EIT? Now this EIT belongs to the Docker host port. The Docker host port. This is the EIT. Now let me put this as EIT like this. Okay, now when you use -p EIT colon EIT, that means it will map Docker post port of EIT and the container port of EIT. On container port of EIT, what is there? Our Nginx application is running inside that on the port number EIT of the container, right? Now, what we did, we have executed. We have, this is our browser, Chrome browser, right? We have this is a Chrome browser, let's think of. Okay, now let me put it as Google Chrome. Okay, this is the Google Chrome. Now, what we have searched? We have searched like localhost colon EIT, local host colon EIT. Now, this request, which we are searching in the new tab from the browser, this request will go to the host port, Docker host port of EIT, and that Docker host port is mapped with the container port of EIT on which my Nginx application is running. That is why you are able to see the Nginx application on your Chrome browser, Nginx. Okay, like this. Okay, welcome to Nginx screen. Actually, let me okay, like this. Okay, welcome to Nginx. That is the reason why you are seeing this welcome to Nginx screen from your web browser. What is happening? Because of this -p EIT colon EIT, my Docker host port EIT is mapped with the container port EIT on which my Nginx application is running. When you request that Docker host port EIT, then it will be the request will be reaching to the container port EIT. That is why the response will be coming from the container, that is Nginx application response. Actually, so that is why you are able to access the application from the web browser. This is called port mapping, that we call it as port mapping. That means this is called port mapping. That means we are mapping the container port to the host port, Docker host port. That is why we call it as port mapping. Okay, this is the -p EIT colon EIT. Any questions you have? It works for the Tomcat. Each and every container, it works same. Actually, so that's the thing. -p EIT is common for all containers. So you see, every time if you use Nginx image, EIT should be same, because in every Nginx image, so EIT upon the port number EIT only Nginx application will be running. You can use, in the place of EIT, you can use any port, because that is the Docker host port. You should not change the right side port EIT. If you use Nginx application, you can change this EIT to whatever port you want, actually, in the port range. Okay, that's one I want to discuss. Is that clear for you? -p, actually, -p option is clear. Is that clear for you, everyone? everyone, anyone, any questions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
hyphen D and hyphen P living clear.
Is that clear, right? It's clear, right?
No, no, no. This
Can you,
this hyphen D and hyphen P I didn't clear exactly.
it's your voice is echoing. Please put that text in chat. Sorry for that, but yeah, can you put that in chat?
Audible right now? Hello,
Okay. Hello, can you repeat that?
I am audible.
You are audible, but voice is some echoing, something like that. Sorry for that. Yeah.
I told that hyphen D and hyphen P is not clear. Please just repeat.
Okay, it's not clear. Hyphen D, do not worry about hyphen D. Okay, just worry about, as of now, we are discussing about hyphen P. Okay, so hyphen P, yit colon yit means, okay, we are mapping yit of the Docker host port yit to the yit port of the container port on which my Nginx application is running. That's the thing you need to understand. That's it. We are mapping these two ports, container port and the Docker host port. That's a hyphen P yit colon yit. As of now, do not worry about this hyphen.
We can change the Docker host 8080 to 5000 or some any names.
Yes, you can change the 8080 Docker host port 8080 to any port that you want. Okay, that should be in the port range. Okay, what is a port range? What is a port range? Each and every machine will be having some port range, 0 to 65,565, 65,565. In these ports, you can use any port so that you can port forward to that on the Docker host.
Yeah, Shiva, just wanted to know, like, while actually changing the default port number for Docker host and that image container port actually. So, will there be any configuration file where we can actually change the port?
No, because by default, port number will be running on port number 80. Nginx application will be running on port number 80. There is no configuration file, something like that. That is given to us by the Apache people who created the Nginx image. Okay, there is no configuration file like that. While running the container itself, you should be mapping that port like this 8080 colon 80.
But if, let's say, if another image actually we need to run, but again, that same port number, it will be referred, then how can we distinguish them actually while running the?
You can see that. Let me run the another image. Okay, let me run the web app. I already executed web app. Let me run web app 1. Okay, you cannot use same port number yit. Let me use yit 1. Okay, this port number should be different. You cannot run same application on the same ports. Okay, this yit should be same because Nginx application inside the container should be running on port, is always running on port number 80. Let's click on enter. You can see that Docker container ls, and you can see that it is running. Okay, it is running. What we did now is we have created another container named web app 1. This is another container. One second. This is another container on which this is the 80 number port. One second. This is the 80 number port. This is the 80 number port. Okay, now we have mapped this port to the Docker host port of 8081. This is how we mapped. You can change this port. You cannot map same port which is already used on the Docker host to another container. You cannot use this port again to this container. You should use different ports, and you can access this 8081 from the browser like this. Okay, let me go to the browser. 8081. You can see the same Nginx application is running. I am using the port number 8081, something like that. Okay, so that's the thing. Is that clear?
That port number 80, actually, you are actually putting. So while after retrieving that image to the Docker host, like how exactly we will come to know about the information about the port number for that particular image?
See, the port number of particular image will be known when you do regular practice. We don't know which application it will be running on which port number. If you search in the internet, if you on which port number the Nginx will be running, you will be able to know the EIT. Okay, if you search in the internet on
So-
which port number the Tomcat will be running, you should search in the internet which application will be running on which port number. That you should search in the internet.
So there will be
As
no information regarding the port number in any configuration file kind of thing?
no, it's not like that. There will be no information. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. It's up to the image. It's up to the people who created the image. The people who created the image will be deciding that port number. We have no power of deciding the port number on which the application should be running. Okay, that's the thing. Okay.
I mean, does this information about the port number for that particular image be there at the Docker Hub also? I mean,
I did not get. You can repeat that.
from Docker Hub, before we retrieve that particular image, I mean, so any information will be there at Docker Hub regarding that port number for that image?
Yes, some of the images contain the information of that port number in the Docker Hub, but some not actually. If you see, let me show you whether the Nginx application contains the information of the port number or not. Let me show you. Let me see that. Okay, this is a hub.docker.com. Okay, this is the Nginx. Let me go here, and this is the Nginx image. And if you see that tags, and if you give stable -perl, and if you see the information in the Docker compose file, you can see the expose instruction. See, this all comes under in the if you go forward in the course, what is how to Docker file, how to write a Docker file. You can see the expose is exposing port number EIT. That is why by looking at this expose instruction in the Docker file of that particular tag, you will be able to know the port number on which the application, this Nginx application will be running. See, if I tell all these things now, it's really confusing you people. I want to go step-by-step process. I want to go like a step-by-step complexity. If I tell all these complexities, the prior itself, it's not the right thing actually, because you don't know this expose instruction as of now if you are new to this Docker. That's the thing I did not mention. So that's the thing. Okay, each and every application will be having some ports. You need to check in the internet as of now. Okay.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah. Okay, that's a port mapping that we want to discuss actually. Now let me delete these containers actually. Docker. See, there are two containers. And let me see the images. Docker images. Okay, let me see. These are the images that are present. What are the images? Nginx, WordPress, MySQL, Tomcat with a different version. Okay, now different tag, busybox. Okay, now let me remove all the images at once. How to remove all the images at once? Docker system prune -a. This all these commands which I'm using here will be getting for you as part of documentation. So all the diagrams, commands, and all the things. Okay, Docker system prune -a means it will remove all the images actually which are not used by the Docker containers. You can see that Nginx image is used by these Docker containers, right? So if the Nginx image is used by the Docker containers, that will not be getting deleted. Okay, let me click on enter. Okay, it will ask for confirmation. Click Y and click on enter. Select Y and click on enter. Now you can see that, okay, Docker, one second. Docker images. You can see that Nginx image is not getting deleted. Because why it is not getting deleted? Docker container ls, because the containers is using the Nginx image, or because of that Nginx image is not getting deleted actually. If you delete these containers and delete this Nginx image, it will be getting deleted. How to delete multiple images at once? Using Docker system prune -a. Okay, that's a command that you should use in order to delete multiple images at once actually. Now, how to delete multiple containers at once? Docker, okay, rm -f, okay, -f represents force actually, $, okay, Docker ps-aq. This is the command to delete multiple containers at once. Okay, let me click on enter actually. Now these two containers got deleted. You can see this container got deleted here and this container got deleted. You can see that. Now if you execute docker container ls, now there will be no containers running actually. Now previously our nginx image has not deleted because that nginx image is being used by these containers. Now if you delete that nginx image, now the nginx image is going to be deleted. Now how this in this here I have deleted all the images at once with this command docker system prune -a. But if you want to delete a specific image, single image, now you should use docker rmi and the image name is the nginx. Okay, now let me put as nginx. You can see nginx image got deleted. Docker images, you can see that no images were being present on my docker host actually. Now that is the nginx thing you need to understand. Let's go to the new use case, like creating a tomcat container and accessing the tomcat container from the web browser. How to do that? Docker run hyphen. Yeah, tell me.
I have in the real time in the company's organization, there would be some security credentials that is there that we cannot delete some images. Is that so? For deleting, we need some credentials.
No, nothing like that in the real time as well. You can delete the images directly. No credentials will be required. While downloading the image, credentials are required. I accept that. But while deleting the image, no credentials are required in the real time as well. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, now docker run hyphen name is equal to let me give the name container name as tom -d and -p. I am using port mapping that I call it as, and I want to use E88 on the docker host. This is a docker host port. On which port the docker like tomcat will be running? On port number EIT TOMCAT. Tomcat is the image name. If I want to explain this command, this is the image name. Okay, this is the port mapping. Okay, -d is a detached mode. Hyphen name is the I am giving the name to the container. Run is the functionality you want to perform. Docker is a command line utility. Okay, let me click on enter. Now unable to find the image locally. Tomcat is unable to find the image locally. That means on my docker host, Tomcat image is not present. It is trying to download the Tomcat image from the hub.docker.com. So it is trying to download that image and it will create a container out of that image. Let's wait for that. Okay, now that's the thing.
Shiva?
Yep.
Yeah, so here actually you just get the port number for Docker host page 8888, right? Earlier
Yes.
it was you had given the like 8080, right? So
Yes, yes.
is there any specific range for that particular port for
Yeah,
Docker
yes,
host?
that range is this much. Okay, 0 to 65,565. You can use any port in this range.
I mean, this one is for Docker host, right? That port
Yeah,
range?
this is yes, this port range is for Docker host. Yeah, is that okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Now you can see that Tomcat image is executed as a container. Now what I am doing that docker container ls, you can see Tomcat image is executed as a container. Now I am able to access this Tomcat image on port number 8888. Go to your Chrome browser, go to the new tab and go to here. Okay, localhost colon 8888. You can see I am able to access the Tomcat application which is running inside the Tomcat container. Actually, you can see Apache Tomcat 10.1.20. So that's a version. Okay, now that's a Tomcat how you will be able to access from the hub, like browser actually. How to remove this Tomcat image, how to remove this Tomcat image. So Tomcat container, I mean to say, previously what we have did to remove multiple containers, we have used this command docker rm-f $docker ps-aq. This command will be removing all the images at all the Docker containers at once. But if you want to remove a specific container, how you can remove? You cannot remove a running container. How to see what? See, if you remove a running container, what is the error you want to going to get? Docker rm. This rm is the remove. So then you need to give the container ID. If you use this, you are going to get an error, something like this. That is, you cannot remove a running container. How to remove a running container? You should use -f. Okay, -f to remove a running container. -f represents force. -f represents force. Actually, this is the -f represents force. Okay, if you execute this command, this will be removing the container. But as of now, I don't want to do this. I want to how to remove a running container. There are two options. One is -f, or you need to first stop that container. How to stop that container? You should use docker stop and the container ID. Just stop that container. Docker container container ls. You can see there are no containers in running state. Docker containers ls will be showing the containers which are in the running state, actually, which are in the running state. Okay, now let me go to here. Docker container ls-a. Yeah, docker container ls-a will show the image Docker containers which are in running state and which are in stopped state or exited state. -a represents all running state as well as exited state. Actually, that is a command to show all the stopped containers and the running containers. Now I have stopped this container. This container. Now you can remove that container. How to remove that container? Copy the container ID, docker rm, and the container ID. Previously, when we use this command to remove the container when the container is in running state, you can see we have used here, we are getting this container error. That is, you cannot remove the running container. Now what we did, we have stopped that containers. Now you will be able to remove that container. You can see container got removed. Okay, now you can see docker container ls-a. There is no container which is running, actually. So that's how you need to remove and execute the container things, actually. So that's a thing, actually. So now these are one of the use case I want to show. The another use case I want to show is about the MySQL. What is that MySQL? I want to use MySQL Docker image as a container. Okay, now how to do that? Docker run -name is equal to mydb is the image name, or Docker container name I want to use. -d is a detached mode. I'll tell you what is detached mode in the future classes. Okay, now that's a detached mode. Now -e is important for the MySQL DB, MySQL container, MySQL image. Actually, what is -e? Environmental variables. For some of the images, you need to pass. The image will be expecting some environmental variables, okay, in order to run that image as a container. How to know whether the environmental variables are there with that image or not? Go to the hub.docker.com, search for MySQL, you will be finding the MySQL image, and this MySQL image, go to the below section, you will be finding something called environmental variables, and you can see these are all the different environmental variables and why they are used for. You can find out this explanation here, actually. So that's the thing. Now all these things are all these things are optional environmental variables, but one is mandatory environment variable. This is the, you should pass as a mandatory environment variable. You can see that this variable is mandatory and specify the password to the set the MySQL root super user account. Actually, this is used to set the password, right? So that's the thing. Now how to use that? Using -e. What is that? MySQL _root_ password. Okay, this is the password I want to set. Okay, the password I want to set is test is the password I want to set, actually. Now let me minimize this. Okay, test is the password I want to set. Okay, now I need to use MySQL is the image name. You can see that docker run hyphen name is equal to mydb hyphen d hyphen e MySQL root password test I am setting as a password, and the MySQL is a image name. Now click on enter. MySQL image is not found locally. It is trying to download the MySQL image from the hub.docker.com. Let it download that. Your internet connection should be proper while downloading the images. Let us wait for some time.
Shiva, why this
Yep.
MySQL root password equal to test? Is it the password given by you? Or?
Yes. It is a password given by me, and this is an environmental variable that you need to set actually while running the MySQL image as a container. This password you can use anything that you want, because
Okay.
you have to log into the MySQL database. You need to set the password, right? So that's a password.
This is not the password which you have in your system, right?
No, it's not the password in my system. You can set your own password here.
Okay.
Just wait, it is going to download everything. Yeah, it has downloaded and executed as a container. Now docker container ls, you can see that MySQL image is running as a container. You can see that it is running on 3306. I have told you, right? MySQL will be running on port number 3306. And let me log into this container. How to log into a particular container, how to enter into a particular container using this command docker. This is a new thing you have learned, that is -e environmental variable for your Spring Boot applications, for your .NET applications, for your Python applications. There will be some of the applications contain environmental variables. We are going to see further different things. Actually, we are going to see that how to use the environmental variables, how to create these environmental variables. Okay, now how to enter into this particular container. Docker exec -it container ID. This is a container ID. You can see this is a container ID. Now -it represents interactive terminal, because you need to open the interactive terminal of that particular container. Okay, that's you need to use -it. This is exec means execute. Okay, this is a command line utility, and this is a container ID. Now you need to open something called /bin/sh. This is the shell I want to open inside the container. That's a thing actually. Now let me click on enter. Now I have entered into the container. Previously, when I am on the terminal, this is this one, Shiva Kumar. But here I have, if you notice something, this is shell. Yes, it's shell actually. I have, that means I am inside the container. Okay, that's the thing. Now I want to log into the MySQL database. How to log into the MySQL database? This is a MySQL data thing. Okay, -u root -p. First you need to use this command MySQL -u root -p. -u represents username. The default username of the MySQL is root. What's the password we have set? That's a test is the password we have set while running the MySQL image as a container. Just click on enter. It will ask you for the password. Just to give that password, just like this, test. Just click on enter. You have entered into the MySQL database inside the container. You can see that the prompt here, MySQL. That means you have entered into the MySQL database. Now how to you can now execute the MySQL queries. Now you can execute show. Once again, these are the MySQL queries. Show databases. You can see this is the databases. These are the different databases that we have. Use MySQL I want to use the MySQL database. Now show tables. Okay, now you can see these are the different tables that is there by default. Okay, so that is how you need to use -e environmental variable, and that is how you need to enter into the MySQL or any container. Okay, if you change the container ID here, you will be entering into that container. That's it. That is how you need to perform the actions to enter into the container. Okay, that's the thing. You need to just click on exit. Okay, now just give the exit command here. Now, okay, now you will be out of the container. You will be out of the container. Now again, I am in my terminal. Okay, let me clear the screen. Now that's how you need to enter into particular container. Docker container ls. You can see this is the MySQL container. Now, how to check the logs of this container? Checking the logs is very important. What are the logs? If any problem is there with that application, who have logged into that application, who is performing what, that is noted as part of logs. Okay, let me copy this. How to check the logs of particular container is using docker logs command is a container ID. You can see these are the logs which will be displayed if you use docker logs command with that particular container ID, right? So in these logs, if any problem appear with your container, you should check these logs first. What is the problem that is there with my application or my container? So that is the thing you need to how you need to check the logs. Let me clear the screen. That is the logs of the container. Now you can use Jenkins. This is another use case. Let me use Jenkins as a Docker container. Let me run Jenkins as a Docker container. Docker run --name is equal to Jenkins. Okay. Now, what is Jenkins? Jenkins is a CI/CD tool. That's an automation that we do. It's part of our course. Okay. That's the CI/CD tool. As of now, just it's a CI/CD tool. Just do that. Okay. Now -d Jenkins should be port for. I should be able to access the Jenkins from my web browser on port number 9999, and the Jenkins will be running on port number 8080. Jenkins slash Jenkins is a Docker container I want to run. Jenkins is not present in my local machine. It is trying to download the Jenkins from my hub.docker.com. Okay, let it download the Jenkins. Okay, so that's the thing. Let it download that. Okay, let it complete. Now, Jenkins is executed as a container. Docker container ls. You can see Jenkins is executed. Jenkins image has been downloaded from the hub.docker.com and executed as a container. These all the things we have seen as part of the Docker architecture. Okay, now you can access this application which is running inside this Jenkins container from the web browser using 9999 port. You can use localhost and 9999 port number, and your Jenkins will be opening, which is running in your Docker container. Now that's how you need to open Jenkins. Please wait while Jenkins is getting ready to work. Actually, it is something loading in the background. So that's how you need to use the Docker commands, and these are some of the use cases I want to display to you. So I want to show to you that's a thing actually. Now, any questions you have with these use cases? We are going to see the 3-tier architecture in the now. Actually, any questions you have?
Yeah, Shiva, can you just go to that architectural diagram, that Docker host and other things over there?
Which one? Okay, architecture diagram, Docker. Okay, this is the one.
Yeah. See, actually, here I just want to ask. Let's say one image we are actually retrieving by using the port number of Docker host at 8080. Let's say. Again, we are actually retrieving another image by putting the Docker host port number as 8081. So my question is like whether that Docker host instance will be created only one or two times it will get created.
No, it will be using the same image on the Docker host. Okay, it will be using the same image on the Docker host. If you are using the same, if you are using the same, if you want to run the same images as a container, it will be using the same image and running as a containers. 2 times it will be running as a containers, because you are running 2 times, right, with a different name. That is why.
No, but I am using the two different port numbers for Docker host, right?
Yes, it will run for 2 times. It will map. See, which have shown in this. Okay, let me go here as part of diagram. Okay, this one. Okay, it will run 2 times. I have already shown you, right? So it will run for 2 times. I have run for this container. I have run 1 time, and for the other container, I have run for another time, another command. So it will
No,
run for 2 times.
you just change the Docker host port number only, but I'm asking about the two different image actually. Let's say
Yeah, two.
MySQL is one image, then Nginx
Okay.
is one other image. So,
Okay.
so actually what you have done actually earlier, that you just change the port number of Docker first, right? So again, you are actually retrieving the latest one. What am I trying to ask you that let's say by using 8080, you are pulling the MySQL by using let's say 80, right? And
No,
another
we are not pulling with the port numbers. We are just pulling the image from the hub.docker.com with the image
yeah.
name. That's it.
But you are giving the port number for that particular image container, right?
Yes.
So, okay, can you just do one thing that first you just need to pull one particular image by using the Docker host as port number is 8080, then again another image by using 8081. So,
Yep.
so after that, both the image can be run on the same Docker host or the two different instances will be get created.
No. On the same Docker host. The containers will be created on the same Docker host. No different Docker host set.
I think the port number is not for the image, it's for
Different.
container, right?
Container, yes.
So we need to, yeah, that's what actually I just also wanted to know that while retrieving the image, whether we need to keep the Docker host, I mean, that port number will remain same for the other images, or do we need to change the Docker host port also?
You need to see if the port is already used on the Docker host by the other container, you need to change that port number. If the Docker host port is which is not used, you can use that same port number. Okay, you need to depending on your situation, suppose here the Docker host port of 8080 used by the another container with the nginx image named web app, you cannot use same port 8082 for the other container which you are going to run. You should change the Docker host port for the other container. Okay, if that is free, if this port is free which is not used, you can use that port again. Okay, you need to, if that is free only you can use. If that is not free, which is you cannot use the Docker host port which is not free for the other container.
So you mean to say that for each different image that Docker host port number will be different?
Yes, Docker host port number means, see, again I am saying, if the Docker host port is same, okay, if the Docker host port is used by some other container, you cannot use the same port number again to the other container, another image, I mean to say. Okay, if the Docker host port is free only, you can use that port number to that. See here, what is the thing is, here Docker host port is there 8080. Okay, I cannot use that port number 8080 again to another container, something like this. I cannot use this port. Okay, I cannot use this port, something like this. This is avoidable. This is not used. This is, you are going to get an error. You need to, because that is already, this port number is already used by this container. Okay, now you need to, at that time what you need to do, you need to use another port on the Docker host, and you need to map that port to the Docker container, something like this, on which the application of the Docker container will be running. If that free only, you can use on the Docker host. If it is not free, you cannot use.
So you mean to say that for each image, I mean that corresponding the Docker host port number will be unique one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a Jenkins application here. It is running now. How to enter into the Jenkins here? You can see, you can go to the Jenkins Docker logs. Go to the Jenkins log container, copy the container ID of the Jenkins, click on enter. You will be finding something called password here in the logs of the Jenkins, and you need to go here and paste it here and click on continue. Okay, you will be Jenkins will be installing some of the plugins. Okay, then these are the plugins that is going to be installed by the Jenkins, and you can go further to the next process actually. So that's how the Jenkins will be working with that actually. This Jenkins application will be running on our Docker container. Is running on our Docker container. You can see it here, the Docker container ELS, Docker container ELS. You can see the Jenkins application is running on Docker container. Let me clear the screen. Okay, clear the screen. That's it. Now I need to discuss about the three-tier architecture. I need to discuss about the three-tier architecture that is used in the real time actually. Now let me go here. Okay, this is okay. Now this is a port mapping. Let me close this. Okay, in real time, what will be there? Three-tier architecture. I hope you people already know. There will be a front end, there will be a backend application, there will be a database application. In case of microservices, these three applications will be deployed as three different containers, something like this. Okay, three applications will be deployed as three different containers, something like this. Now, this is the front end application. This is the front end. Okay, front end application. This is the backend application. This is the database application. Okay, now this is the three different applications. In case of Docker, we are going to deploy these applications as three different containers. This is one container, this is one container, this is one container. Now see, in real time, what the people does, this is our web browser, this is our web browser, that means our Chrome browser. Okay, the people will be requesting the sending the traffic from our Chrome browser to the front end container. Okay, front end application. Okay, now we will not be sending the direct traffic to the backend application. Okay, right, we will be sending the traffic to the front end application. Then the front end application has to connect to the backend application, something like this, has to be communicating with the backend application. Okay, backend application, backend container should be able to communicate with the database, and should be able to fetch the data from the database like this. Should be able to fetch the data from the database. What is a database? Database is used to store the data, right? So that's what is the database. No, the database, like the backend application, should give the data to the front end application, which is fetched by the database actually. So that is how the front end application will reply back to the browser, showing the data of to the particular user. This is how the three-tier architecture will be working: front end, back end, database. This will be deployed as containers as on the Docker host. Okay, you need to establish this communication. Okay, front end has to be talking to backend should be able to talk to database, and database should give back the data to the backend, and backend should give back to the data to the front end should give back to the data to the browser. So you need to establish this communication. This communication between the containers should be established, okay, by us actually. How to establish a communication between the containers is using two different options that we have. One is, okay, establishing communication. First way of establishing communication will be using what is that? Okay, hyphen link option. The second way of establishing communication is using Docker Compose. Docker Compose is a powerful and important tool that you need to learn. Okay, so that is a Docker Compose. This hyphen link option, you can establish a communication, and Docker Compose is an automation for hyphen link option. Then also you can establish a communication. So how this can be done, we will be seeing actually. Now you can, let's go to one by one actually. Let me show you Docker container, Docker TINERLS. You can see that these are the two containers are running. Let me show you whether the Jenkins has installed suggested plugins. It's still installing the plugins. Okay, now let me clear the screen. How to remove the containers? Docker RM. Okay, how to remove the containers? Just now I was showing you, right? Docker RM -f, because they are the running containers. I need to use -f option, that is force option. Okay, now dollar. Okay, I need to use this Docker ps-aq to remove all the running containers. This will remove all the running containers, and you will not be able to access your, you can see an error occurred because the containers are removed and it is unable to connect to the Jenkins. Actually, you can see that if you refresh, the access will be gone because the containers are removed. Okay, now like that. Okay, now let me run something called busybox image. Okay, let me run something called busybox image. Docker run -name is equal to busybox. Okay, just it's a name. Okay, I'm giving a name as busy to the container, and -d detached mode. I want to use busybox is the image name. Please listen carefully. This is the image name that I want to use, busybox. Okay, now let me show you. Let me click on enter. It will go to exited state. Let me click on enter, and it is the busybox image that will be going to be downloaded from hub.docker.com because it is not present on my local machine. Okay, it got downloaded. Okay, you can see that Docker container ls. You can see that even though I have executed busybox image as a container, it went to exited state. You can see that -a, it went to exited state. That means stopped state. Why it went to stopped state? Okay, let me go to the diagram. Let me go to the diagram. Until what? See, if you take a particular container, this particular container, okay, any container, until what time this container will be in running state, that entirely depends upon the application which is running inside the container or the process that is running inside the container. Okay, until and unless the process or the application inside the container, okay, inside the container is in running state, the container will be in running state, something like this. Okay, the container will be in running state. Once the process is been, the process inside the container went to stopped state, something like this, the container will go to exited state or the stopped state. It entirely, the running state of the container, the status of the container, it entirely depends on the application that is running inside the container, the application or the process that is running inside the container. Now here busybox does not contain any application or the process which is running inside the container. That busybox is just an image. It will not contain any application or the process that is running inside the container. That is the reason why it went to exited state. That why it went to exited state, because there is no process or there is no application which is running inside the busybox image. That is why it went to exited state actually. Now because of that reason it went to exited state. That's the thing I want to share you people with information. Until and unless there is some process or there is some particular application running inside the container, okay, the container will be in running state. If the process inside the container or if the application inside the container is in stopped state, that container will go to exited state. Okay, something like that actually. Now it entirely depends on the process inside the container. Now like this busybox image, there are multiple images in the hub.docker.com which does not contain any application running or which does not contain any process running inside the container. One of the example is Ubuntu. Another example is what is that? CentOS. These are some of the images which does not contain, okay, any process or any application will be running inside them. Why the images are there if nothing is there? If the see you might have asking me the question, why those images are there if the process or the application is not running inside them? Those images are used as base images in the Docker files. Actually, that is why the images are there. We are going to see the Docker files clearly because that's an important concept. We are going to spend much time on those because yeah, that's the important concept which is used in the real time. Actually, those images are used as part of or Docker files. That is why the images are there. Some of the use cases are there why these images are there, which does not contain any process running inside them. Actually, so those are the things which we will be seeing very clearly. Actually, so in case of Docker files, okay. So that's the thing. That's the thing I want to discuss as of today. What we have discussed today is some of the use cases. We have discussed about the Nginx application. We have discussed about the Tomcat, which we have executed as a container. We have did port mapping, we have checked the logs, and we have logged into the MySQL container, and we have used the environmental variable. We have used the Jenkins as a container, and we have logged into the Jenkins by executing the password, and we have seen the 3-tier architecture, and what are the how, and we have seen the status of the container, until what time the container will be in exited state, until what time the container will be in running state. Actually, so that are all the things that we have seen today. And in the next class, what we are going to see today is what we are going to see is about the communication between the containers, something like this, how the containers will be able to communicate with each other with hyphen link option and Docker compose option. So that and all we are going to see. It's an important thing. Docker compose is a really important thing that will be used in the industry for automating the things. Actually, and depending on the Docker compose only, we are going to do our first project. Okay, that's a things I want to discuss today. And any questions you can ask before the closing this today's session. And this is the last demo and the final demo I want to share with you people. And one more thing I want to discuss with you people is the timings. Okay, this is a 10:30 batch which is going to shift to the 9:30 in the future classes. I will be telling you when that is going to shift, Monday or Tuesday, next coming Monday or Tuesday. That's it. Okay, that's a thing I want to discuss. Okay, that's a thing. Okay, this is a final demo, and please go ahead and register for the course if you are interested. That's the thing. If you have any questions, you can ask now. If not, we will meet in the next class. Any questions, please?
Yeah, Shiva, so I just want to know, like, since you said that content, backend, and database can be considered as a container, so can you say that it will be considered as a Docker image actually?
Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, I mean that content and that backend and the database part, actually you said that it will be considered as a container, right?
Yes.
So can we say that these three component can be considered as a Docker image as well?
Yes, from the Docker image only, these containers will be created. Without the Docker image, these containers cannot be created.
Okay, so as per earlier discussion, so these three components will be stored as a I mean that private Docker registry, right?
Yeah, that's up to you where you store this. That you can store in the private Docker registry or the public Docker registry, whatever it is. If you consider your image as a like secret one, you should store in the private Docker registry. And if you want to make that public so that everyone can be able to access, you can store that in the public Docker registry. Anyway, we are going to see the two sections: storing the images in the private Docker registry and the storing the images in the public Docker registry. And that is up to you. Your image can be where you want to store your image to.
Yeah, actually, that's what I just wanted to ask you. Like before you discuss about the demo on like how exactly the communication will be established by using this link and Docker Compose. If you can
Okay.
also, show about like how exactly that Docker image can be stored at both the registry. So like using a particular command, so that we will also get an idea about the storing patterns.
Sure, sure. I'll be showing that. Oh, no problem. I'll showing that. Okay, how to store in the Docker private Docker registry and the public Docker registry. Yes, I will show.
So,
No problem.
regarding this demo, you already have the image being created and the front-end, back-end, and database side.
No. This image is already see, this image is I'm going to use already created images. Okay, that MySQL image, and the backend I'm going to use as a WordPress image. Backend and the front end I'm going to use as a WordPress image. That is given to us by the people who created that image only. That's the public images that I will be going to use actually.
Okay, so you will be pulling that image from the Docker directly, right?
Yes. But in case of our project, we are going to pull our private images because that is my own image. That is a student store application. I have converted as a Docker image. That is part of my project, our project actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
hello. Yeah, Shiva.
Yeah, tell me.
The establishing the communication. So right now we have through this command, we need to integrate this 3-tier application, right?
Yes. With this command hyphen link option as well as Docker Compose.
And where in which would be the situation where image would not be compatible to our environment? Is that so? Means whenever someone is going to create an image, what would be the parameters to create that image, and is that compatible into the existing environment or not? What kind of the measure we need to understand that for that?
You need to understand the architecture of that operating system you are going to create that image. Okay, if you are creating the image with the help of AMD 64, see, if you are going to create an image with AMD 64 operating system, that is not going to work with ARM 64 of the operating system, which you are going to deploy in the Kubernetes cluster. If you are going to create an image on the ARM 64 operating system architecture of the operating system, that is not going to work on the AMD 64 operating system image actually, or Docker host actually. I'll be showing that. Okay, how to create in the different architectures, okay, of your operating system, how to create the images. You need to send some flags to the Docker command while creating the Docker image. Something like that. I'll be showing that in the future. What are the things you need to take care of the like environment specific to run in the Kubernetes cluster or the Docker host in the future. Okay, that's the thing.
Okay. And please, whenever you are explaining, so please, I have gone through this SDL. Please understand how the process start means. When HDLC means developer write a code. This is, please tell some basics also. So sometime you get very much fast. I didn't get that some points.
Sure. No problem. I'll cover the basics also. No problem, because this is designed like that. This course is designed like that, from very basic to the advanced level. No problem. No, don't worry. The clear sessions will be very clear. And if you have any questions, also you can have in the Telegram chat. Okay, no problem. Do not worry about that. You will be very clear. Okay.
Okay.
I will
So
going very slow only. Yeah.
On Monday, batch would be on 9:30. Tomorrow is no lecture.
No. There will be no classes tomorrow and day after tomorrow. But from Monday or Tuesday, on these 2 days only, see, because I need to tell you the container communication, something like that, before merging to the other batch at 9:30. That is the lag I have now, because they are at the container communication. Hyphen link option got completed for them. Once you also complete this hyphen link option for you people, so that I can merge with that batch actually, so that your batch will be taken as one. That is why that is the reason I cannot tell you now. It will be on 2 days. Okay, whether Monday will be merged or the Tuesday will be merged. Okay, that's it. Okay, whether Monday or Tuesday, I will tell you. You are going to get a clear instructions in the mail from the DURGASOFT people actually, whether it is going to merge on Monday or Tuesday. As of now, I am assuming on Monday your batch will be at 10:30, but from Tuesday you are going to from 9:30 actually. Sorry for the inconvenience. Until yesterday, I told you your batch is going to merge at 9:30 on Monday, but from Tuesday it is going to merge. Sorry for that, because the syllabus of the hyphen link not completed. I don't want to rush further and tell you hyphen link. I don't want to confuse you people as of now. That is the reason I want to
Okay, okay, fine, sure.
Yeah. And I see that some of the people joined a little bit late. And what I have discussed in the starting stage of this today's session is I am going to add another project to this course that is called this EFK stack, which is something called collecting the logs from the Kubernetes cluster and pushing that logs to the Kibana Elasticsearch, and from the Elasticsearch, Kibana will be fetching the logs and be showing to us. So this is the another project I am going to add. Just integration will be shown, and we'll not deep dive into that actually because this is not the course of Elasticsearch Fluent Bit and Kibana. Just integration with the Kubernetes cluster will be shown, and it is entirely a real-time experience you are going to get with the projects that we are going to discuss. All the 6 projects, actually 6 projects, yes, 6 projects. So that's a thing actually. So that's what I have discussed in the starting stage. So that's the thing. Okay, anyone have any questions? And please remember, from next class the link is going to be changed.
Shiva,
Anyone have any
you
questions?
are not
Yeah.
on, you don't, means you are not running the command through AWS EC2 instances?
I did not get you. Can you please repeat that?
Means you are not using AWS environment, means through that you are running, or you are through CLI?
Yeah, yeah, I'm using as of now CLI because I have enough resources on my laptop to enough CPU and enough memory as of now. That is why I'm using the CLI. Some of your laptops may having some restricted to some resources, right? You will not be having enough resources like CPU and memory to run your Docker engine on your local machines. That is why I have told you people to use the EC2 machine so that your laptop will be safe, because Docker is a huge software, will consume a lot of memory and lot of CPU. As of now, I am using my local machine to run the Docker commands, but in the future, I will be using the EC2 machines only.
Okay, so yesterday I told that I was facing some issue about launching EC2 instances. So AWS error occurred, or AWS was not
Yes.
able to validate the provided access credentials. So that error was
Okay.
continuously getting. So I saw some on documentation and some YouTube. So there was some due to time issue, time zone automatically. We have to communicate. So through that, in that way, it was resolved.
It's
Because
resolved. Okay. Okay.
yeah, so because I was not able to edit the security groups because of that.
Okay.
So
Then you after editing the security group, it got.
yeah, it got because in my computer system there is some time issue. There was, I saw some link that due to there is a time lag between the availability zone or somewhere else. So we need to
Okay.
do exact timing. There was that solution I found somewhere else.
Okay. 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 That means it's from your local issue, right?
Yeah, that I
Okay.
found.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. No problem. I appreciate that. Thanks. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay. And before, whenever you are telling that I have not any idea about this Elasticsearch, Kibana, what exactly it is, before going that, please tell some related words, keywords, exactly.
Sure. See, we are not going to start not only Elasticsearch or Kibana. We are not going to start any concept without discussing some terms. Okay, as you already experienced, I have discussed some terms of the Docker, and then only I have entered into the Docker. Directly, I'm not entering to any other concept. Then only if you enter directly to the concept, you will not understanding that concept. You'll be understanding like 50-50, something like that. I don't want to do that mistake in our classes. Okay, so first I will be discussing about the concept, not only Docker, any concept I take, any syllabus, any batch. First I will discuss the terminologies that I will do for you people. Yes.
And Shiva, one thing yesterday someone has told about the interview part. So my point was to add on this, that if we are giving one project and if we want to put that project in our resume, that would be so as a suppose if you are taking an interview from my side, if I am putting what kind of the perspective, what kind of the question you would like to ask, as a means you get my point what I'm trying to say.
Yes, I get your point. That kind of questions will be asked, and if you are having any doubts, that solutions will be also given.
Yeah, because please mention that questions if any project that there are 6 projects, but we cannot upload all the 6 projects. If we are giving only if we are adding 2 projects or 3 projects only, 2 projects in our my resume. So what would be the possibility of asking the questions regarding that some scenario based or tricky based? Because if you are a senior developer, that you must have taken the interviews also. So you have also idea that please share that feedback to us.
Sure, definitely. I'll be showing that. I'll be seeing if I take any particular concept, not only projects, if any projects or concept, what might be the question that might be asked in the interview. Sure, definitely I'll show. That is the important thing.
Okay, thank you for your session.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions anyone has before ending the class today?
Just from my end, last thing, I want to leave. I'm not available for the recording will be available, right? I'm not available for 3 to 4
Yes.
on Monday to Thursday at least.
Yes, recordings will be available. You are going to get a drive access
Okay. Thank you. Shiva.
after registering the course. Yes, okay.
So Shiva, actually today I joined little late. Only for today's recording, can you upload it today itself or tomorrow?
Yeah, it will. No, it will be uploaded by today itself. It will be
Okay.
uploading in the YouTube channel of the DurgaSoft. And once you get the drive access, it will be also uploaded there also.
Okay, so where should I access then today's recording in YouTube? Which channel? I mean, and I know
Let
DurgaSoft
me
channel.
share you. Yeah, in that DurgaSoft channel only. Let me stop sharing and let me share you the YouTube link. Okay, 1 second. YouTube. DurgaSoft. There will be a playlist. 1 second. This is the playlist. 1 second. Yeah, I am uploading. I am sharing the playlist link for you people. 1 second. It's the chat. Yeah. Here is the one. Okay, you can see it is not added now. Okay, it is getting recorded now. Once it got added, you'll be able to find it this playlist.
Sure, Shiva. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and once again I'm saying today is the last class for demo. Please go ahead and register. That's it. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining the session and have a good day. It's nice to meet you all people. Thank you. Bye.